Good morning, everybody. Well, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're joining me from. It's pretty early here where I am. And I want to thank you for joining me. My name is Bache. I am your host for Humor Career Insights. And I am a career coach, certified professional career coach. I am a Gallup certified strength coach, and I am also an HR consultant, and I am also founder of Humor and host of Humor Career Insights. So season 4 is here after a longer than anticipated break. You know, if you've listened to my podcast or if you've had one of my coaching sessions, I speak about how change is one of the only constants, And during this break, I was navigating a personal transition. And it became longer than intended. And, normally if you follow the Humor Career Insights podcast, we have a 2-month summer or winter break, depending on which part of the world you live. And it turned into a much longer break. But I am super excited and very grateful to be back hosting Humor Career Insights. Over the past 3 seasons, we've explored career transitions in season 1. We've listened to amazing career stories in season 2. And in season 3, which was the last season we did, we focused on AI and the future of work. Speaking of which, there was a huge ask to bring Professor Mensah and her colleague, Dr. Dube, back, and I might just do that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back one season and listen to the trailer. I promise you will not be disappointed. AI continues to invade our lives, and we also may once in a while go back to this topic as and when I see something particularly relevant. You can't cover everything in one season on AI. It's continuously changing. So if I get requests for a specific topic, I have already for AI tools for CV writing. And, CV writing, CV revamp continues to be one of the things I am constantly asked for. And I think I may need to have a webinar or something like that to just focus on CV writing, CV revamping. The world around us continues to change. But as the world changes, so do the ways we must define career success. As a career coach, one of the things we talk about, and I have a transitions program, and in that transitions program, I have a session where we spend time on purpose and success. And, like I said, change is one of the only constants. Career transitions seem to be the main thing that I am requested for coaching. And we spend time talking about purpose and success just to get those sails corrected. And one of the questions I ask is, what does success look like for you? What does it look like in the short term and in the future, perhaps for the next 5 years? You must remember that this question here it doesn't say what is success. No, it says, what does success look like for you? And not to your boss, not your spouse, or to your parents, but to you. We extend that question with the question, if you could do one thing and knew you would be successful, what would it be? And I always say to the people I'm working with, to my coaches, there are no restrictions here. I very rarely get an answer that is tied to the person's work career or what they studied. Most of the time I hear things like, I would write a book, I would be a chef, or I would bake, I would open a hair salon. One time a finance person mentioned they would love to do archaeology and dig up bones. It's very rarely connected to the career they're in. And in season 2, the power of storytelling, I would start my conversations by asking my guests to imagine that they were at a dinner party and the host was the only one who knew them, and how would they like to be introduced. None of my guests spoke about their job title. It was never, I would like to be introduced as director of such and such. Mostly it was about the things they had achieved or were most proud of, things like their family or a passion. A great reminder that knowing your purpose gives meaning to life. Like finding your ikigai. I highly recommend the book by Rick Warren, The Purpose-Driven Life. Wait, I didn't really plan this, but now I'm thinking there's another question that I ask, and I would like to engage everyone who is here with me online live. And also, if you happen to watch this or listen to this later, you can do it by yourself and then send me your response. So there's a question that we ask as well in our career transitions program. And it is, we ask you to write a retirement announcement. So we ask you to think about you're retiring and what is the announcement wherever you are, if you're at work or whatever you're doing, you founded an organization. What is the announcement that you would like, or what is the announcement that would be written about you? Okay, there's several questions, and let me see if I can find them. Yes, okay. So we say, write your retirement announcement and include the following. Who did you work for? What did you accomplish? What dreams did you accomplish? And what was your greatest life achievement? And how do you want to be remembered? So think up for me. If you have a paper and pen, write it down. What dreams did you accomplish? Do this too. What dreams did you accomplish? And how do you want to be remembered as a retirement announcement, right? If you are here live, do type it in the comments. And if not, you can send it to me, info@humhr.org. I would really love to see what your retirement announcement would look like. This makes for great self-reflection, and we call it the legacy or retirement announcement. And I find a lot of people struggle with this one. Well, I'm not getting anything in the comments, but that's okay. You can share later. I digress. But the bottom line is that the picture of success must meet with your passion and purpose. And so more often in our society, we celebrate, the corporate employee, the one who's risen up that ladder to the C-suite, or in the UN world, up the P ladder. But today and this season, I would like to propose to you a different thought process. And that is that climbing up that C-suite ladder or the P ladder is not the only successful career. Some are actually not made for the ladder. Some are content to build their own ladder. And season 4, welcome to season 4. Season 4 will position entrepreneurship as a valid and respected career path, not a fallback, not something that you do because you either couldn't get a job or you got laid off, but something that you're passionate about. And that sometimes you actually even quit your job for that. Something that you've built yourself. And that could be what your definition of career success is. But don't get me wrong here. There are people whose actual choice is to climb up that ladder. And that's what I do. I'm a career coach, right? So I work with those people and I help them to climb up that ladder in what they see as success and in the best way possible for them. So your career success could be being able to step out of that corporate or that job rat race. And, right now, everywhere I look, and I don't know about you, maybe you're also seeing it. Organizations are restructuring, posts are being abolished, and you may be affected. And so many talented people, they are left wondering, okay, what now? And yet at the same time, there's a flip side of the story. I see other stories where people are building things, starting side hustles, small businesses, passion projects, basically turning uncertainty into possibility. And I have a friend who has started an amazing juicing business. I'm trying to convince her to come on the show and share with us her entrepreneurship story. It's such an inspiring story. It's actually based on her passion. Her passion is wellness. And this is how the juicing business was birthed, out of that passion. When I look back at my own career, it never quite fit inside the walls of, the regular traditional organization. I was a great employee. And you know what? If you hire me right now, I would be a great employee. Said in the beginning, I'm a Gallup certified strength coach. And when I did the assessment, one of the things that came out was that one of my top 5 is achiever. My first is developer, which is why I have such a passion for coaching. But one of my talents, one of my other ones in the top 5 is achiever. That's my executing theme. And that means that I work hard. I make sure that things are completed. It drives me. And I had this aha moment when I did that assessment, because I realized why I used to work so hard, why I used to excel in the workplace. And that achiever, it also drives me now in humor. But I was an innovator and I was a disruptor at heart, and I was in HR, and I was in HR in the corporate world, and it didn't always allow space for that creativity, for that spark to build something new. And I found expression and fulfillment in that, in self-employment. And now I'm an HR consultant. So I do really well at going into an organization and coming and saying, okay, these are the HR systems and what works, what's not working, the culture, and I give recommendations. And, so back to self-employment, it came about as a necessity. It wasn't necessarily a choice, For me, I did want to climb that ladder. Even if I knew I wasn't completely happy within that structure, I did want it. And, good paycheck, and for that societal approval, I did want to reach that C-suite too. But the circumstances, I was a trailing spouse, and that ensured that I couldn't maintain that path, as I was always moving. And when you're always moving and starting a new job, you're starting at the bottom of the ladder again. In a new location, everything, new countries, you're always starting at the bottom of the ladder. And so I was constantly looking for work. And my journey to becoming a career coach is an interesting journey that I go into in detail in the second season. I think it's episode 6 or 7. And in case you want to fill in those gaps that I'm not going to go through today, do go back and look at it. So back to introducing season 4, which is the whole reason for this live session, right? So let's ask questions. Does being self-employed, does it make my career any less commendable than those who worked the corporate ladder and became directors? In fact, does it mean that I have a career, or did I drop my career for self-employment? Perhaps, perhaps not. It would depend on what success means to me or you. If your dream is to one day step out of the rat race or step down the ladder and go into self-employment or become an entrepreneur, how can you do that? How can you turn that side hustle into a viable business? Is it ethical to have a side hustle while having a day job? Lots of angles. And this season, we will ponder on all those ideas. Let's consider that entrepreneurship can be a career choice instead of a fallback or a phase. It's a path that demands vision, resilience, and courage. Whether you're leaving a job by choice or by circumstance, whether you are thinking about farming, juice making, consulting, or career coaching like me, your work still matters. Those skills that you use to further an organization's vision and mission, you can use to further your own vision, because success isn't just about climbing that ladder. Sometimes it's about building one of your own. So join me this season as we redefine what it means to have a career. We'll talk to founders, creators, and dreamers who took bold steps into entrepreneurship and found purpose along the way. I will also have the startup coach who will join us for our first episode and will come back to give us tips and coaching along the way. I'm grateful that he has agreed to give us his time and knowledge here on Humor Career Insights. I'll share my own journey too, the highs, the doubts, and the lessons from building humor from scratch. So everyone, this is season 4 of Humor Career Insights. Entrepreneurship as a career choice. This season, we also have some exciting changes. We're changing things up a bit. And if you are a subscriber or part of the Humor Career Insights Inner Circle, you are listening. And for the very first time watching this live, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone this season in order to give listeners a well-rounded experience. We'll have live events once a month where I'll either have a Q&A or host a guest or something. We'll see where this leads us, but these live sessions are to encourage your engagement as a listener and make this platform more meaningful. We'll also have opportunities for partnering with Humor Career Insights or sponsoring an episode, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen if you haven't already subscribed, and share with friends, colleagues, anyone you think would benefit from the conversations and from the podcast. And also join the conversation on our social media platforms. Follow us. We'll try and broadcast live sessions there as well. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And until next time, stay inspired. Thank you everyone for joining. I will just check very quickly if I have any chats from anybody. That I have one. Yes, I have one of the retirement announcement. I want to be remembered as someone who impacted the lives of people I encountered on my life journey. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Tafadzwa. You're excited for season 4. So am I. Very excited. Thank you for joining me live. So am I. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining. And we look forward to more live sessions. Look out for the first episode next week with the Startup Coach. Until next time, stay inspired.